You hear it before you see it, a snap of branches behind you, too heavy to be the wind. You freeze. Your whole body screams at you to run, but your legs won't move. Then it's on you, claws first, then teeth, closing around your skull. Everything goes white. Pain you didn't know existed. And then, silence. You wake up. You're alive, but you have no idea how, or what happens next. This isn't a movie. This actually happened, about 6,200 years ago, to a teenage boy in what's now Bulgaria. Archaeologists found his skeleton in a burial site called Kozareva Mogila, Goat Mound, near the Black Sea. His skull tells the story, deep puncture wounds, spaced exactly like the bite of a lion. Yes, a lion. Lions actually roamed Eastern Europe back then, thousands of years before they became an African animal in our heads. Researcher Nadezhda Karastoyanova and her team compared the wound pattern against real lion bite specimens in museum collections, matching tooth spacing and puncture depth one by one. It lined up almost perfectly. Now here's the part that should stop you. He survived. 4 months, maybe longer. Today, if a wild animal did that to you, you'd be in an ICU within minutes. Trauma surgeons on standby, for antibiotics, a ventilator if you needed one, a team of specialists making sure your brain didn't swell inside your skull. This teenager had none of that. No hospital. No painkillers, no stitches, no machine to breathe for him if his body forgot how, and yet, the bone shows healing. Real bone remodeling, the kind that only happens over weeks and months of a body slowly repairing itself, which means somebody kept him alive that whole time. So how do you keep someone alive after a lion has bitten through their skull, with absolutely nothing modern to work with? The answer might already be sitting in his own community's history. The same settlement shows evidence of skull surgery, trepanation, performed on other people there, some of them still alive when it happened. That means these people already had some working understanding of how to operate on a damaged skull, long before this particular attack ever occurred. It wasn't luck that kept this teenager breathing. It was applied knowledge, tested on real bodies, refined over generations, and ready the moment it was needed. But surviving the attack itself was only step one. Infection was the real killer back then, and honestly, it still would be today, if you let a wound like that go untreated. Right now, if you cut yourself on something, you reach for a bottle of antiseptic without even thinking about it. 30 seconds, done, problem solved. Ancient humans didn't have a pharmacy down the street. So what did they actually use instead? Scientists have found part of the answer stuck in the teeth of actual Neanderthals, literal hardened dental plaque, tens of thousands of years old, preserved by accident. Trapped inside it, traces of yarrow, a plant that helps blood clot faster, and poplar, which contains the exact same active compound found in modern aspirin. They weren't just eating these plants as food. The way the traces are concentrated suggests they were deliberately treating wounds and pain with them, clotting blood and dulling pain, without knowing a single thing about chemistry or biology. And it goes back even further than that. Neanderthals were processing red ochre, a reddish iron-rich mineral, as far back as 100,000 years ago. Modern lab testing shows ochre actually has real antibacterial properties. Researchers believe it may have been rubbed directly onto open wounds, functioning almost like a primitive antiseptic, sealing out exactly the kind of infection that would otherwise kill someone slowly over days. Think about that gap for a second. That's roughly 100,000 years before anyone understood what bacteria even were, and they were already fighting it, through nothing but trial, error, and passed-down memory of what actually worked. Compare that to your own bathroom cabinet right now. A bottle of hydrogen peroxide, a box of bandages, maybe some antibiotic ointment, all of it standing on the same basic instinct a Neanderthal had beside a fire 100,000 years ago. Something is wrong with this wound, so cover it, clean it, and stop it from getting worse. There's one more thing modern medicine relies on that's easy to take for granted: your immune system actually fighting the infection while doctors just support it from the outside. Ancient humans had the exact same immune system you do right now. The difference was everything happening around it. No clean water on tap, no sterile bandages, no way to know if the wound was getting better or quietly getting worse underneath the dressing. So their real skill wasn't beating biology. It was buying their own immune system enough time and enough protection to do its job without extra threats piling on. That's honestly not that different from what a modern ER does for you today. Doctors don't usually cure an infection directly. They clean it, they medicate it, and then they let your body do the actual work. Now let's talk about the bite that scares people most, even now: snakes. If a venomous snake bites you today, you know exactly what to do. Call emergency services, keep the limb still, get to a hospital, receive antivenom. Ancient Egyptians didn't have antivenom. They didn't even fully understand venom as a biological substance. But they had something surprisingly close to a field manual. It's called the Brooklyn Papyrus, and it lists dozens of different snake species by name, describing the exact symptoms each species bite would produce, sometimes down to the color changes on the skin. Some entries even describe which bites were survivable with time and rest, and which ones meant near certain death within hours. A real triage system, built centuries before modern toxicology existed. But here's the myth we need to bust, because you've almost certainly seen it in old movies. Someone gets bitten, their friend cuts the wound open with a knife, and sucks the venom out by mouth. That almost never actually worked. Most snake bites, even venomous ones, aren't actually fatal even with zero treatment at all. Which means whenever someone survived after a folk remedy like that, people naturally gave the remedy all the credit, instead of crediting the body's own ability to fight the venom off on its own. It's a myth that stuck around for thousands of years, for one simple reason: survival looked like proof, even when it wasn't proof of anything at all. So here's what's actually wild once you put all three of these stories together. A lion-mauled teenager kept alive for months through applied medical knowledge his community already had. Neanderthals treating pain and infection with specific plants, tens of thousands of years before anyone knew what a virus or bacteria even was. Ancient Egyptians classifying venomous snake bites with real clinical precision, purely from observation. None of them had antibiotics. None of them had a hospital. None of them even had the word infection. But they were already doing the exact thing modern medicine is built on. Observe closely, test carefully, remember what actually works, and pass it down to the next generation. So the next time you reach for a first aid kit without a second thought, remember this. You're standing on top of tens of thousands of years of people figuring it out one bite, one wound, and one survivor at a time. If you want to dig deeper into any of this, all the research is linked down in the description.